Hello and welcome to an asynchronous lesson. Hopefully you guys have been able to finish your TED Talk presentations, and today I'm going to have you start writing your TED Talk scripts. Now the scripts aren't meant to be 10 pages of you saying exactly what you're going to say word for word, but it is a way for you to organize your thoughts, questions, and also the structure of your presentation. You do not need to list every single fact or write down every word that you are going to say. That would be a lot of mindless talking and typing. Rather, think of this as the main talking points or ideas that you want to present to your audience. There are three things that I think are important for you to outline. One is the main facts and details you specifically want to mention, point to, or explain. So for example, in my example down below, I can really talk about how the first billion people that we added on top of 1 billion people happened during the North American and European industrialization. That's a really important fact that I know I need to explain to my audience that I'm going to do pretty early on within this slide. The second thing that I want to make sure I'm able to articulate or structure are the aside comments, the personal moments, the commentary, or any other interpersonal moments I might have with my audience that might not be purely factual, but might be more of an engagement or an excitatory moment, trying to get them excited, interested, or curious about what's going on. So for example, I do a really good job later on talking about how we added so many extra billions of people after 1927 due to some really, fundamental things that we take for granted. But fertilizer, child immunizations, and literacy for women were all things that we did not have before, really the 1920s, yet all of these small little changes contributed hugely to a huge exponential population growth. And then the last thing you really want to try and structure are what are the questions or the pauses or the other moments where your audience either thinks or interacts with you or your presentation. So for example, in my presentation, I first just present this graph and ask my audience to think for 30 seconds, why do you think the rates of adding 1 billion more people has changed over time? I want to make sure that I give my audience enough time in my presentation to fully look at what's going on in this graph in order for them to make up their own conclusions. But at the same time, at the end of this section, I ask my audience another question. Does the increase in population addition or a slowing down mean that we aren't progressing? This is a pretty good format of what I'm expecting you to think of. Now, you don't need to organize every slide if you don't think that it's a slide worth ordering or presenting information on. You don't need to write as much as this, but the more you are able to structure your presentation, the more likely you're going to hit your time benchmark, the more likely you're going to have an effective presentation that engages your audience, and the more likely that you are going to rock this TED Talk. We will be spending some time on Thursday going over this and making sure you feel good about it. And I also have office hours tomorrow if you need help. This is your only assignment besides collecting data out in the woods for your independent investigation. So make this a priority. I will see you guys soon and have a great Tuesday.